Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Bring Back the Love Conversations, a conversation about love, romance, and R&B. I am your host, AJ Throwback. Great to be here with you on another Friday evening. And we are transitioning into a new topic tonight. I'd like to call this one, There's No Business Like Glow Business, really celebrating Black Girl Magic. And I'm so honored to have a very special guest tonight, a sister that I actually came across 3 years ago when she was still singing, you know what I'm saying? And has a great voice, but she has since focused more of her energy on an excellent podcast, Simply Shaunte, that you can find pretty much anywhere on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you could get podcasts. I mean, she runs the gamut of so many different topics and and has an excellent podcast voice. If I must say, I'm very big on people in their podcast radio voices. The transition from like singing to podcasting is so natural for you, and I had to give you your flowers real quick. None other than my sister Jalisa Shaunte. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me today. So happy to be here and be a part of the conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. And I feel like for this particular topic tonight, I feel like there's nobody better that I could have had for this than you. You know what I'm saying? With like just the energy that you bring to your podcast. Honestly, the energy that you brought since day one, of us interacting and me playing your music on my platform before, and just really just a light that it is very necessary in this world.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about your beginnings with music. I mean, you describe yourself as just somebody who loves music and specifically, coming up in the 90s, like you unapologetically a 90s baby, you know what I'm saying? And I'm here for because the 90s were a great time. So like really talk about like your beginnings with really falling in love with music and
Mhm.
how R&B comes into play in that whole picture.
Well, growing up, like my dad always used to play music in the house. He had like the big old surround sound stereo system. So me and my sister, like, we would always listen to music. We would always enjoy it so much, have little dance battles and stuff growing up. But like me, like singing wise, I was in kindergarten and we were having a play at school, and our music teacher, she had just stopped everybody, and she was like, "Wait, who is that singing?" So that she went down the line. Then she found me, and she was like, "Go ahead and sing." So I sang, and she liked it. So she told me that I was going to do a solo. But I mean, I was in kindergarten, so I really didn't know what a solo was. And then I went home and I asked my parents. I was like, "Well, what is a solo?" And they were like, "Well, that means you have to sing part of the song by yourself." And I'm like, "Oh." So, I got a little stage right now because I've never done this before. I'm a little nervous. So that was my first, experience ever, like performing on stage and singing. And I always used to, sing around the house growing up, write my own little songs and stuff. So I've just been doing it ever since I was little, and I just love it, from R&B to trap music. I like everything. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and one of the things that I appreciate about your love of music is that in a lot of ways it intersects with your ability to tell stories. Because like one of the things that I have to like really commend you for with your podcast is like when you tell a story, like anybody who's listening is like, okay, tell me more. Tell me more. Okay, yeah. Like you really know how to like I won't say upsell because you're not upselling, like in a sense, like embellishing or exaggerating anything, but it's just the way that you tell a story. It it just makes me really feel like the time that you come from kind of informs how you tell stories. Do you feel like that is the case for you? And how do you feel like the music you listen to or the music that you came up loving, how do you feel like that really kind of sort of shape your ability to tell stories in that way?
Well, I feel like when I like to tell a story, I like to tell a story how I like to receive a story. So if someone is telling me a story, I like to be able to visualize it. And I
Hmm.
feel a lot of that is because I have a lot of nostalgia, being from the 90s. So it's like I'm always remembering how things were back then when the music I felt was like amazing, when I was just like enjoying myself being, growing up young, not having no bills. So it was just, growing up back in the 90s, and I really enjoyed it. You know, even like spending time with my grandma during the summers and her just listening to different music, a lot of gospel music too, always growing up in the church and being a part of the choir from a young age, growing up. It was just, a wonderful, great experience. So I feel like that also really played a role in me really loving music so much.
Yeah,
So much.
yeah, yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned the '90s because this is where we're gonna start pulling in your words and tying in your words to the whole narrative of having this conversation. So one of the things that you said, let me pull it up real quick. So episode 3, and I love the title of it, From Antennas to AI, A Journey Through the 90s.
Yeah.
When you said, and this was something that really resonated with me in terms of no more waiting until 8 to have to be at home to watch it or look on TV Guide to see when's the next time it's going to air so you can make sure that you're going to be home at that time. Like the level of anticipation of not just TV or not just movies, but really anything that we receive through media is just a lot different back then. And I feel like in a lot of ways that shaped the way that we appreciated things. And you can say the same thing even with music, because it's like now you can just pull up music if you got Apple Music, if you got Spotify, if you got Tidal, if you got any of these streaming services. If you want to listen to any song at any given time, all you got to do is hit a search bar, boom, the song is right there. Back then, a lot of times you had to wait for a song to come out,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to wait to get to the, if you wanted it, you had to wait to go to the record store to go get it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And they might not even have it
Mhm.
depending on what it is.
Yeah.
So that hunt and that desire to get whatever it is or entertain yourself in the way that you entertain yourself is just totally different. So really considering that, whether you're talking music, whether you're talking TV or movies, how do you feel like that shaped the way that you appreciate the music you listen to or the TV or the movies that you watch?
I feel like a lot of times, like even like with like the TV shows, if that's something that you and your family watch together, then everybody's going to be home at this particular time. Or like we're all going to the record store to go buy the CD like together. We're all, we're gonna take a little out and we can go to the music store, go get the CD, maybe get some ice cream, stuff like that. But now, like you can instantly, as soon as it drops 12 o'clock AM, you can go ahead and start listening to it on your phone. So it makes it really more accessible. So I guess it's kind of like they can put it out so fast, just so quickly that it doesn't really have like that, I guess, longevity feeling that it
Hmm.
used to have. So I
Hmm.
guess like you can just get it instantly. So it's not like this big old event or thing that it kind of made you want to go, let's all go together and go get the CD, or let's all like watch this TV show together. So it's just different nowadays. They have more
Yeah.
to me like a family feeling. Because I know, like, even growing up when we were young, we would hear something like on the radio and we liked the song. So it's like we used to like record it on the tape so we could just, have
Hmm.
it, to it later on that evening, so that you don't have to do that now. If I want to go hear anything, I can literally just get on my phone and play it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's starting to become a theme, or with a lot of people, no matter kind of sort of the range of the ages or whatever, like tapes, like having to record songs on tapes. That's a struggle that a lot of people will never have to will never have to know, because it's like you got to sit there, and if it's your favorite song, you want to catch it at the very beginning of when that song starts.
100%.
Same thing with TV. Like if you had to record something on VCR or whatever, like you had to record it right. You wanted to record it right when it started, so you didn't miss like one bit of what it was that you were recording. Like that's just different. I mean, it's a lot more different and easier now, but yeah, back then, if you miss like half of the beginning of the song, it just didn't hit the same. Because it's like I'm missing this little piece of the song.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
even, like, back then, like, with TV and everything, I know my dad, he used to have something he used to call a camcorder. So we would just be out family events, whatever, and he always record things. And back then, I'm like, why are you recording everything, everything that we're doing all the time? Like, we just want to have fun. But now it really makes a difference. Matter of fact, like the other day, I have found like my family reunion with like my grandma, my great grandma, and I have found like all of them, and a lot of them are deceased now. So it's like great to be able to still have those memories and remember my great grandparents. So it's just wonderful. And now I appreciate the fact that he had that camcorder, he used to call it, and we're able to still, look back and reflect on that time. And like even the music that they were listening to back then, it's like I feel like some of those are like I think of cookout songs. Anytime I think of those songs, I'm thinking of like a family cookout. Everybody's just, enjoying one another's company, eating good food, and more nostalgia back in
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and that's a good place to kind of sort of get some of those cookout songs, because that's something I don't really get to talk about that often, especially given the season and everything. So like, what's some cookout songs you gotta hear when you go to a family function or anybody's cookout? Like what's some staples?
well, they're gonna play the Cupid Shuffle, and
Of course.
everybody gonna act like, "Oh, I don't remember how to do it. I don't remember." But as soon as it comes, you remember. You know, get on the floor with all your family, and everybody just gonna get down. Everybody gonna have a good old time. Eat that potato
Hmm.
salad, that good old macaroni and cheese, and enjoy it.
That's right.
That time of year, because I think when it's nice and hot, you can go outside. I'm a country girl. I live in the city now, but I'm originally a country girl. And we like to sit outside and enjoy our music and eat our good food and have a good time. Listen to a little bit of R&B, listen to a little bit of trap music. Yeah, just
Hmm.
my family really loves music. I come from a musical family, so that's all we do is just listen to the good music and reminisce.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned like the difference between you being a country girl, as self-described, and then being in the city.
Mhm.
Um how do you feel like music is, I don't know, maybe the appreciation of music is different from being in the country to being in the city? Have you really seen much of a difference between the two?
Well, actually, I went to an event this weekend in Virginia Beach. I didn't even know it was going on. I just so happened to be in the area. I think it was by Work Hard, Play Hard 757, I believe. And it was a great event. I think usually this is the weekend that they have something in the water, but since they have moved that, I think that's in October now, they ended up having this event. And I didn't even know that was going on, but I thought, that was great to have like artists that are from Virginia, being able to perform in, their own state versus, having people who may not be from the area coming to perform in Virginia Beach. So I thought that was a great opportunity. I didn't even know it was going on, but I was happy, that I went. I was very happy about that to see something like that happening here in this area. Back where I'm from, there is a radio station, Hot Mix VA. They do have events and they work with the town of Tappahannock. I think they're gonna have an event coming up soon. They have a lot of different things that they have going on. They actually helped me to do my first show when I was doing music. I hadn't really like I had songs, but I really didn't put anything out. I was like a little nervous, whatever. I was like, I'm just gonna keep it to myself. But they knew that I could sing, and they were like, "We're having an event. Would you like to come? Do a song?" And I did. It was songs I hadn't even released yet. But after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start releasing my music and taking it more seriously. So after that, it's just a different vibe in the country. It's like I felt like more people are, it's kind of close knit. Down here, I really don't know anybody yet. So, but I'm
Mm,
gonna start, doing more networking. I'm glad I went to that event. I didn't know things like that were happening down here. So I definitely plan on doing more things like that for sure.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And being in that region, like the 757 region, like all down there, I just feel like it's just rich with talent.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and I mean, you
people on the stage.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, no matter how far back you go, or even up to right now, like, I mean, that area code has just been producing a lot of like just, and not just
Mhm.
talented people who are doing it on a different level than a lot of people in the game. So, like, being from that region, how do you feel like that not only shaped your appreciation of music, but how do you feel like that kind of sort of guided you artistically as well?
Well, I would say like the town or the area that I'm from, it's the like the next county over from like where Chris Brown is from. So it's
Mm,
really like so inspiring to see somebody who's like from that area who really is like putting on for real and like doing their thing. Regardless of people have to say about him, that man is amazing. And you
yes,
can't
indeed.
deny it,
That's
regardless. You
right.
can't. No matter what you would say, you can't deny it. The man is amazing. So just seeing somebody who's from like a similar area on such a high level, that's just like dang, it's just amazing and wonderful. And, I'm very happy for that man. That's just
Hmm.
amazing. And it's really inspiring because you think like coming from somewhere like in the middle of nowhere and then seeing somebody like really put on for real, it's definitely inspiring for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like when I first heard about where he was from, I was like,
Mhm.
I've heard of it, but I haven't heard too many people come
Right.
out of there. You know what I'm saying? So like for somebody to come out
Mhm.
of, that town and be as, I mean, just a super mega star like he is now, it really is inspiring that it doesn't really matter where you're from. It just matters how much you want it and
Right.
what you're doing, what you're willing to do. And, there are fine lines when it comes to that because it's like everybody has their limits in terms of what they're willing to do in order to get to that level. But at the same time, he put in the work. Like it's not
Mhm.
just, oh, what I'm saying, he looks like this or he dances like this. It's like,
Right.
no, he's a great singer and
Yeah.
he's a great dancer. You know what I'm saying? Like all the way around, he's one of the most talented artists of his era. But once
Yeah.
again, coming out of that region, it really comes as no surprise to those who know.
Yeah, he's from Essex County, and I'm from
Mm,
Middlesex County. So if you keep like going straight up 17, it's a
yeah.
straight shot. You end up going to Essex from Middlesex. So, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's wonderful to see somebody from the area put on. It's a lot of talented people from that area, and there's other people from the area that are doing great things and as well, and getting up there in rank. So it's just amazing to see. It's amazing to see.
Absolutely, wholeheartedly agree. So where do I want to go next? Because it's so many different ways I can attack this. Oh, let me see something real quick because I'm trying to see if I want to. Okay, so this is the direction I wanted to go next. So you said something else on your episode "Birthdays and Bliss," and
Mhm.
you talked about the difference between partying when you were younger and partying now. Like a lot of times, and this is something that kind of sort of turned me off. I'm sure you probably feel the same way, that turned me off from really wanting to go party because I feel like, I mean, you feel that way being where you are in Virginia, in your part of Virginia. I've felt that way being in this part of the DMV for a very long time, is that people just don't really party here. And it's gotten worse. Like you go to a party now, and like you said in the episode, people just they're on their phones the whole time. Like you said, it said something to the fact they just wait for the TikTok part of the song, and then and then they do what they do, and then it's back to being on their phone. But like at that time, like to go to the club and or go to a party and really have a good time, like really kind of dig into that a little bit more, like in terms of like the difference in the vibes of the music that made you want to party a little more.
Well, like prior to COVID, I feel like going out, like I was going out, but not as much as I used to when I was younger. But I felt like people actually like used to dance and have fun. So when I wrote the song TMS Talk My Shit, I actually wrote it because I was like, if I was in the club right now, what kind of song like would I want to hear? Like what would I want to vibe to? So that's why
Hmm.
I wrote that song. So when it was time to go back outside again and go to the club. And I seen everybody just standing there. I was like, hey, I can stand around at home. But then
Right.
again, like I really wasn't like interested in really going out like that too much. Maybe like if I'm on a trip and I'm in another state, yeah. Because
Mhm.
I think about it like when I go out, I'd have spent all of this money. I could have spent that money on a trip. So it's like
Yep.
I might as well just do that and then maybe go out while I'm out there. And it's like I have been to other states and yeah, they, still have a good time. They still turn up. But around this area, I was like, nah, I might as well just stay in the house and go out when I feel like it. But it's really nothing out there no more. I'm probably
Yeah.
leaving after happy hours over. Nobody's even dancing. What am I going to stand around here
Right. Right. Now that begs another question. That begs another question. Hold on. Yeah. So when you were at the height of your partying,
for? Hmm.
I mean, you could run down a set list. It could be quite a few songs. You go to your R&B songs, you go to your trap songs, whatever it might be. What was the joints that like guaranteed we was gonna see you dancing in the club?
You gonna see me dancing in the club. Um, it depends. Like, it's just so many different songs, but the trap music. Dope boy 95, dope boy 97, next. Oh, I just love trap music so much, and I feel like every time it comes on in the club, I'll be like, all right, it's time to go. I
Yeah.
mean, they would like Young Dolph. R.I.P. I just love Young Dolph so much. I just love him so much, and
Yeah.
I feel like I'm somebody who loves R&B and I love trap music equally because the
Mhm.
R&B, especially like 90s R&B, I felt like I'm able to sing to it and I enjoy it, and it was more so like love songs. But now it's
Mhm.
kind of just like nasty all the time, and it's like sometimes I just want to have some love music, but I don't know. I really don't hear too much of that nowadays, so I stick to my 90s playlist for the most of the time because I don't know. I feel like it was a different vibe. It was a
Yeah.
different era, and it's more so about love and not just relations all the time. So like
Right.
a lot more.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you on that. Definitely with you on that. And then that segues perfectly into, I mean, because the name of the show, Bring Back the Love Conversations.
Mhm.
That's a huge amount of the reason why this podcast exists, because there's a void in the music. And to your point, like one of the things that I've been saying, like I listen to, and I'm not gonna name the artist because I'm not gonna put them out there like that. But this, let's just say they're two well-known R&B artists. I was listening to their albums really for kind of sort of like one, to give them a chance,
Mhm.
and two, it was also inspiration because I got asked to produce some songs for an R&B artist
Right.
who's kind of sort of in that same mode, but not quite all
Mhm.
the way in that same mode, but the sound is similar. So I listened to both of these albums and I enjoyed them. Like musically, I enjoyed them. I thought their vocals were very good. I thought the production was great. The songwriting was decent, but I feel like it's really two lanes these
Yeah.
days with a lot of the topics with R&B. It's
Mhm.
either, and they're all under the toxic love umbrella.
Right.
Like, I'm mad at you, but you make me feel good, sexually. So like, hey, let's keep that going. Or I don't want nothing to do with you. You ain't you ain't nothing. Yeah. Like I made you, but yet you played me. Like that whole vibe, and it's just like, can we be somewhere in the middle? Like, where's the love in the middle? You know what I'm saying? Where's the good? And I'm not saying it has to be corny or hokey or anything like that. Like, be authentic with it. But I feel like a lot of times with music, it's a reflection of the times. And it's like, I think that's the sad part, is that these are the times that we're in, that these are the predominant two lanes when it comes to R&B music, at least mainstream R&B music. Because I mean, if you turn on like the adult contemporary, urban contemporary stations, it's different. But when you turn on like the regular mainstream R&B stations, it's like these are the themes that we're getting. So as you consider like songs that really made you feel or communicated love to you the most, like what's some songs from the 90s that you like, yeah, see, that's more of the energy I need in my
Right.
life.
Even like the 90s and the 2000s, like Faith Evans,
Mhm.
like soon as I get home, like, I'm
Yes.
gonna be on, having a good time together, enjoy each other's company. Even like kind of sad love songs, but like Circles by Marcus Houston. I really used to love
Mm.
that song. But it's like even what's his name? Bobby Valentino,
Yeah.
Turn the Page, stuff like that.
Yes.
Tyrese. I really like 2000s music too, but it's like
Mhm.
R&B is really not the same anymore. Like people aren't really like, I wouldn't say necessarily begging, but like at least act like you cared.
Right.
I don't feel like the music is like that anymore. It's like, okay, we done, bye, whatever. I don't care. But that's kind of,
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that's why I like the 90s because I be feeling like I can't relate. And the 2000s music too, because it was just like a different vibe. It's like, where's the love? I don't feel it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's just a different time. A different time.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. Like, and I'm glad that you brought the 2000s into the conversation. They've entered the chat now because the thing is, like, that was right around like the late 90s and the early 2000s. But even like after the early 2000s, like that's when I was in radio. Like first started in radio. That's when I was, I had a slow jam show at college, and that was such a good time for
Right.
music. Like even like when you get to say like the Marcus Houstons and the Bobby Valentinos, like Bobby Valentino when he first came out, like those first couple of albums he put out, I was like, yeah, this is my guy right here. You know what I'm saying? I just like what he's doing, and I mean he's carrying that 90s vibe with him because a lot of people may or may not realize he was singing in the group Mr. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Blackberry Molasses. Like
Yeah.
that's Bobby V, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like he just brings that 90s vibe into the 2000s, but then puts little flips on it, like sonically, working with, I think it was if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Tim and Bob he was working with for a minute. And then he worked with like a couple of other producers as well. But bottom line is like people like that, like they were kind of sort of keeping that those layers of R&B in terms of like the layers of relationships. Like it wasn't just one thing or the other. Like it wasn't just sex. It wasn't just breakups. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was everything before and in between and even afterwards,
Right.
you know.
Story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Full
Yes.
relationship, not just the nasty part
Right.
about
Right. Right. Like, and whether it's nasty, nasty, or just like breakup nasty,
it.
like
Right.
it's just
Exactly.
like it
Mhm.
just wasn't that ugliness or kind of what you were alluding to. Like the perfect word that I would put on it is indifference. There's a
Mhm.
lot of indifference in R&B now, and I don't like that. You know.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So.
like we did have balance back then. You could listen to
Mhm.
whoever you wanted to listen to. You had like different Trina, Kaya, then you had Missy Elliott. So it's like you didn't have to listen to a certain type of music. Like not everything was always vulgar. If you wanted to listen to somebody else, you could. But now it doesn't seem like that's really as mainstream. It's a little bit harder to find the artists who aren't talking about certain things. So I guess in that aspect, it's a little different because you may not be hearing their song every time you scroll on TikTok. That's not the thing that everybody's playing right now in the background of their videos. It's something else. It's probably not going to be as, I guess, enjoyable for my ears, I'll say. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you teed it up perfectly. Teed it up perfectly because that's a perfect segue into our main topic when it comes to Black Girl Magic. There's no business like glow business, and there's a special way that, and this is no disrespect to any race, ethnicity, culture, anything out there, but it's something about Black women that just glow a little bit differently than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that you kind of sort of ran the gamut of like say the Trinas and the Kayas
Mhm.
and the Missy Elliottts and the Lauryn Hills
Right.
and pretty much like everybody in between because
Mhm.
I've always felt like just because you rap about a certain thing or you sing about a certain thing, that doesn't necessarily take away from your shine. You know what I'm saying? And who you are. It's just
Mhm.
your level of expression. It's your level of experience and everything. But like you said, it was that balance back then. So kind of coming of age in that era, like, and it can include them or it can add on to it. Like, what were some of the images, the positive images, or just the images, period, of like Black women that you saw coming up that really just kind of sort of inspired you to find your own glow?
I really liked Sierra a lot growing up because
Mhm.
I feel like she could dance, she could sing. You know, she was very talented along the lines of Chris Brown, dancing and singing, just super talented. And I just really enjoyed like every song she put out. She had some fast upbeat songs and she had, like the slow songs. And I never felt like it was like too much. She
Yeah.
kept it cute and I just loved her vibe. And I just loved that era of music. I think Sierra was great. I really
Mhm.
also loved Keisha Cole.
Yeah.
She was just amazing. Every album. Every you hit that note, you know who it is. But what's crazy? A little bit off topic, but the beginning of one of those Power TV shows, it sounds just like Keisha Cole. But then I found out it wasn't her, and I was like, wow, this whole time I thought it was her singing the beginning of that theme song, but it wasn't. It's somebody else.
Mm.
Also, K Michelle, I really like K
Yes.
Michelle as well. That
Yes.
really sings. She can blow for
Yes,
you. So
she can.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't give K Michelle enough credit. I think because
Mhm.
so much is put on the reality TV show version of K Michelle that they overlook like the singer. And the singer is fantastic.
Mhm.
I mean, she can go in so many different lanes as a singer. Like I remember the first time I heard her voice, I was like, this girl need to be singing country at some point because her voice would translate so well into country. And lo and behold, she ended up like starting, singing country more. And it's like, well, that makes sense. I mean, her voice, like she has one of those tweener kind of voices that, yes, it fits well at R&B, but
Right.
her ability to translate stories vocally, um, well, yeah, I guess translate. I feel like I was trying to come up with another word. Interpret stories
Mhm.
vocally. That's the word I'm looking for. Her ability to do that is it's unsung in a lot of different ways because like she's just able to infuse so much like passion and soul into what she does. I mean, the girl can sing her face off. Is undeniable that she can. But like just thinking about the whole thing about the glow. Like, yes, Sierra is somebody I definitely would agree with. Keisha Cole is definitely somebody I would agree with. And I mean, like, really, you think about somebody like Keisha Cole and the stuff that she's been through,
Yeah.
and the fact that she still like just has that thing, that je ne sais quoi, that like a lot of people don't necessarily have.
Right.
Like, she's got it. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are all like
It's just
great
amazing.
examples.
Yes, it's just amazing. Even
Mm.
Monica, I really loved
Yes.
Monica growing up. I remember when I was in high school, we had a talent show, and I sang a Monica song. Was it for you? I will.
Mm.
So I was, very influenced by Monica. Even someone like Rihanna's songs, she has some really good songs. What song did she have that I really used to love so much? Love on the Brain
Oh yeah.
too. So
Yeah. 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 I was just talking to somebody about that anti album, like how good of an album that is. Like that's my favorite Rihanna album, like out of all her albums. Like it was so many songs on there that like
Mhm.
to this day I still listen to. If I hear it, it just like gives me a good feeling, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You said
Yeah.
she don't ever have to sing again.
Hey, why? Why would she? I mean, as good as she's doing. And you know, it's funny that actually kind of I'm gonna put a pin in that because it's a question that's
Mhm.
related to you and your own journey when it comes to singing. And I'm very glad that you said it because I had to ask you about that, but I don't want to ask it just yet. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It's like gotta go in a little bit of a chronological order with like some of these questions I'm asking, you know what I mean? But um personally,
Mhm.
who poured into you in terms of like I mean, you named like people that you
Mhm.
kind of sort of saw on a TV screen or you listened to in music who inspired you. Who personally poured into you to kind of sort of help you appreciate yourself as, a young black girl who would eventually blossom into, an awesome black woman who has just so many layers to her.
My family, for real, for sure. Just growing up with them and just being part of just such a wonderful and welcoming and very big family. It just helped me to be who I am today. And I'm just so thankful for the way that I was raised, and, the love and the care that they showed me. I honestly really feel like being around, like, a church family, I really also feel that really helped me to grow and build
Mhm.
as well. Going to vacation Bible school, choir, doing all
Yeah.
of that. I really feel like that really helped me with balance in my life. And, I still am not like this most perfect person, but I know where I come from. And, I try to, do the right thing and do what I'm supposed to do. But, it's a life. Everybody falls short sometimes, but we just keep growing and we learn from our experiences and we just move on. Make the
Mhm.
most out of it. Just be happy and live your life.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one thing that I definitely appreciate about like your story. Digging more into it, and I'm very glad that I got to really get to know you a little bit better through your podcast, because one of the things that I appreciate about you is like you talk about your love of reading, you talk about your love of travel, like and a couple people I've talked to who really enjoy traveling. And I feel like when you travel and you get to different places, I feel like that also adds layers to who you are and adds more to your glow, because you're not just confined to one area. And one of the things, like, and I know in the series premiere of your podcast, one of the things you talked about was when you had to I think you were on a video shoot, I think it was for TMS,
Mhm.
and it was a difference between being there for a video shoot and a difference between possibly being there and you're just there to visit.
Right.
um like, how do you feel like being well traveled or wanting to travel more, how do you feel like that also adds to your personality, your perspective, and just the magic that you have?
Well, honestly, like before, because I used to work with the postal service, so I was working like 6 days a week. So I never
Mhm.
really like got to like take trips as much as I was when I wasn't working there before. So after I started working there, I was like, shoot, I'm not living my life. I'm about to take all the trips I want. So, as time went on and I was able to take the trips, I was like, I'm just gonna go everywhere I haven't been able to go in the past, few years working there. I'm going to go every year this summer. So I just enjoyed myself having a good time, and I feel like I was experiencing different things, different foods, just enjoying myself, having a great time. Like just doing different things. Like sometimes I might want to go somewhere like a big city, or sometimes I might just want to go to the middle of Pennsylvania and go to the Amish country, just experiencing
Mhm.
other people and the way they live their lives and how it is, different from how I'm living mine. So I'm able to appreciate that. And I think that if you have the chance to travel, I feel everybody should go somewhere, enjoy yourself, pick something off your bucket list, and just go. Just enjoy yourself. I know I got plenty of things on my bucket list, but this stuff is starting to get warm now, so it's time to go. I've been on a couple trips already, but I got some more places I want to go. Like when I went and did TMS, I was in the Bahamas, but I didn't really get to, fully enjoy myself
Yeah.
because, it's like I got to go shoot the music video. I got these three different scenes I'm trying to do. So it's like that's taken away from the time from me actually just being able to enjoy the beach or, try the different restaurants and experience. So, I mean, I definitely think it was worth it though. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I still enjoyed myself regardless. I still had a good time, but I feel like my experience would have been different if I wasn't, necessarily using it to shoot the music video. So that's why, like last summer, I just went places and didn't do it for, many purposes. I just other than to enjoy myself. Maybe do some networking here and there, but the main reason for me to go was to enjoy myself and have a good time. I felt
Yeah.
like I deserved it. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna enjoy life while I'm still here.
That's right. That's what it's all about. That's what it's
Mhm.
all about. So what's your favorite place that you've been, like the most memorable place that you've been so far? And then what's number one on your bucket list in terms of a place that it's like, okay, if I don't go nowhere else, I
Mhm.
gotta go here.
Vegas, I loved it so much. I went twice last summer. I had such a great time.
Mm,
I was
yeah.
like, it's so many other things that I want to do. So I went back. I was like, I got to experience, and I still want to go back. So got that on my list. but I really, really, really want to go to Turks and Caicos. Like I just love how the water just so crystal clear. I love a good beach. I love to just enjoy myself, and I'm definitely going there soon. That's the first one off my bucket list that I definitely have to go to. I also would like to go to Dubai, but I gotta go to Turks and Caicos first. I gotta get
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you seem like the type that really enjoys, like, even though Vegas is number one on your list in terms of places you've been, you give like I enjoy a good beach vibes, you
Mhm.
know.
For sure. I like to relax, enjoy myself as much as I can. Like
I
in that
hear that.
right on that water. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I like to go see the pyramids. I definitely would. I feel like
Yeah,
we go see that. That would be amazing. That's another one on my bucket list as well. It'll
yeah,
happen. It'll definitely happen.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's an amazing like story in terms of like where you've been that you've enjoyed the most, and then where you want to go. Like that, I don't really hear as much as I hear people go to Turks and Caicos, I don't hear people say like that's like top bucket list place I want to go is Turks and Caicos. You know, I hear Dubai a lot, but yeah, that's not the first place I normally hear. So I think that's a really good one because Turks and Caicos does seem like a really awesome place to go. Like
Ever since I,
especially like high on the list.
yeah, ever since I was young, I feel like I
Mm.
watched like what's that show that used to come on MTV? It was like the Real World Challenge or something like that. And I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like we were there, and I was like, oh, that just looks so beautiful. So I started looking into it, and I was like, I definitely have to go there. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to make that happen as soon as I can. Sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, songs, because you named artists, but like if you had a playlist of songs that you say, okay, I need something to pump me up today. Cause it's like, okay,
Mhm.
I gotta go into this world and I gotta deal with, all of the nonsense of being in this world. Like, and I need to be reminded of just how awesome I am of a strong, beautiful black woman. Like, what's on that playlist?
You Gotta Be by Desiree. I love that song. Up in
Yeah.
the morning, I'll play that and just feel like everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Just Fine by Mary J. Blige. I
Hmm.
feel like I'll listen to that, everything's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good day. Also, I have Happy by Pharrell on there because
Nice.
I'm happy. Lovely Day is on there.
Hmm.
Shoot, even Outstanding by Catman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. See, I just love all like different genre, not different genres, but like different times, different periods in music, because I feel like they all give me different feelings. So
Hmm.
I'm a lover of music, even different genres too, because I know like back in high school, I used to hang out with different people, and they used to like different genres too. So it's like, hey, I actually kind of like that song for real. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think like in the different genres, yeah, I think it like really shapes your appreciation of the genres that you came up liking even more
Right.
because it just shows you that you're not really that far off. Like with certain music, like I mean, there's certain music is like, yeah, that's the complete and total different end of the spectrum. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like I think about like really hardcore, like screamo heavy metal. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a little extreme. You know what I'm saying? But then I think about something like say country. Um, Country is not really that different from R&B in a lot of ways, especially like really good R&B, like that tells stories. Because I think the star of the show would say like country is that I mean the stories and the songwriting are like so top tier that it's
Mhm.
like it's almost like how can you not like if you enjoy a good story, how can you not like country? You know what I'm saying? Even if
Yeah.
you don't see as many.
Country music like that. I've given it a chance. I'm not gonna lie, it's country songs that I like,
Yeah,
but something about like me like playing it on a playlist or like that's I don't think I could do that though. It's some
yeah,
songs though I like,
mhm,
but I don't know. I never really particularly cared for it too much.
yeah, yeah, and it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. You know, like I had to. I think I'm not gonna say I forced myself, but I kind of
Mhm,
did force myself to like listen to it more. Because I was never really into it either. But then I listen to somebody like Shania Twain, or I listen to somebody
mhm,
like like vintage Reba McEntire. Like I never forget like listening to a Reba McEntire album a couple of years ago. I was like, why was I sleeping on her? Like she's freaking amazing.
one of them, they have, I think it's one of them, but it's a song called "The Way You Love Me." I do like
Hmm.
that song. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
lie. It's certain,
Yeah.
songs that I do like,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'm just gonna play it in the car while while I'm driving.
Right, right, right. Now I don't know if I'm gonna necessarily be blasting it in the
Mhm,
car and all that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's gonna pass the car test the same way like a trap song is gonna pass the car test, you know what I'm saying? But like but if I'm in a mood for something different, like and it doesn't even necessarily have to be country. Like sometimes I like, you know, I might listen to a country song. Sometimes I
mhm,
might listen to like a classic rock song. Like I like a lot of classic rock too. You
mhm,
know what I'm saying? Progressive rock or even
mhm.
some heavy metal groups I like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
But
this one song, I think it's the group is called Hinder. It's called "Lips of an Angel." I feel like that's like
yes,
I really like that song.
yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I like a little bit of everything.
yeah,
If it is made in good taste, I'm gonna like
right,
it. So,
right.
mhm,
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean it's good to like expand our taste palettes and it really kind of sort of lends itself to the whole thing that, you know, we as a people are not a monolith. Like just
yeah.
because we might lean towards R&B or we might lean towards hip hop or we might lean towards gospel or we might lean to all of these traditionally black genres, that
Mhm,
doesn't mean that we can't appreciate like music and all of the other genres because if you're anything like me, like I grew up in like the 80s and the 90s. So but specifically thinking about like being a little kid in the 80s, like we got everything. We got Michael Jackson,
mhm,
we got George Michael,
mhm,
we got Foreigner, we got Run DMC, we got a little bit like of all of the genres and it was like it was almost like how can you not appreciate it because it's like they're sharing the same space a lot of times. Like this is before like at least for me
mhm,
really watching BET heavily because it was like if you wanted to see music videos like a lot of them were on like Friday night videos on NBC
mhm.
or they were on this one show that used to come on Channel 7 or ABC here in DC called New York Hot Tracks. Like they would show pretty much everybody. They show everybody from like Lionel Richie to Tina Turner to Sting to like all of these different artists that it was hard not to appreciate like
Right,
the
right.
wide range of artists who were out at that time. I think as I got older though, I just kind of sort of became I know for me, I became more unapologetically black about stuff. And, you know, like being in DC, coming
Mhm,
up in the era where it's like I'm watching The Cosby Show and then right behind it, A Different World, like
right.
wanting to go to a HBCU. So it's like, okay, like I'm feeling super black. Then growing up in DC in the 80s and 90s when it was like 60, 70% black still, it's
Mhm.
like now I'm feeling super, super black. Then BET being based in DC, I'm feeling extra, extra black. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's no diss to any of the other genres, but it was like, look, I love hip hop, I love R&B, I love us at the end
Right,
of the day.
right. That's
You
right.
know. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I always like growing up, 106 in Park. I really
Yes.
wanted to go there. I was like, I would love to go there one day. It was just such a, a wonderful time. You get home from school, the top 10 is coming down. You gonna watch
Mhm.
that and see who's number one. Because I
Yep.
thought it was gonna be Lil Bow Wow, but we was gonna see
Right.
who's number. And even like with you saying like the different genres coming on that one channel. I remember I think like MTV used to have something like that in the morning times too. I remember getting ready for school. They used to have something and it used to be like whatever popular song was out at that time, that's what they were gonna play that morning. That's what you were
Mhm. Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Do you remember those what is it called? Now that's what I call music CDs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I feel like they still put those out.
To this day. I feel like I saw that like a couple years ago, but they still put them out now.
I
That's
think
crazy. They
I think they do. Yeah.
it too, just like Kids Bop. That is wild. But that used to have some, like, the top music of that time, the top R&B songs. And I remember, I think I got like the first one that came out, but I had to be like nothing but like in elementary school, probably in kindergarten when the first one came out. But
Hmm.
it's just, crazy. I wonder if somebody has like all of them. You could see how much music has changed. R&B, what were the top R&B songs at that time versus like what are the top R&B songs now?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I would definitely love to see kind of like that side by side comparison from year
Right.
to year and
Mhm.
see who was dominating for, because a lot of times it's the same artists who kind of dominate for like a stretch of time,
Right.
but then it's like one that'll sneak in a hit here and there. It's like, oh, I remember them. You know what I'm saying? I remember bumping that myself,
Mhm.
but then like but yeah, to kind of see how it goes from the 90s into the 2000s and the 2010s and even like part of the 2020s, like watching the evolution of music all the way around, like whether you're talking R&B or, whatever music, like even pop
Mhm.
music. I think I mean, well, yeah, actually pop music has evolved in a lot of ways too, or I don't know if I necessarily say evolved. It's just changed. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because certain things, like there's certain aspects of all music that is an evolution, while there are other parts that it's like, okay, we're losing a little bit of this here, but just to be able to see that timeline and how like things like just little different tweaks of the sounds, how people sang songs, how people interpreted songs, because one of the things I kind of sort of thought about was like how you had those big ballads in like the 90s, like the Celine Dion's, like how
Mhm.
she like all she had to like she ain't make no fast songs. Like it was like she'd make a big ballad like My Heart Will Go On, and it was like it was shutting down radio for like
Mhm.
months at a time, you know.
Right. Even
Yeah.
like Tony Braxton
Yep.
in the day.
Yeah.
And of course, like those ballads, you really, really singing for real. You feel
Hmm.
that with the soul when you singing them songs. And
That's
I
right.
don't feel like there's as much of that nowadays as it used to be back then. Like it felt like when they were singing those songs, like had meaning. Like they were really meaning what they were saying when they were singing those songs. Like they were singing it from the heart.
That's
And I
right.
felt like the music, when you heard that, you felt like that emotion, you could feel it behind that song when they were singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Mhm.
Wholeheartedly agree. Now we'll come back around to the other question that I had for you, and it actually be one of the last questions I asked you. But you had mentioned Rihanna,
Mhm.
basically, her not ever having to singing ever again if she didn't really want to.
Right.
So for you, one of the things that you talked about in your series premiere of your podcast
Mhm.
was when it came to singing and not really doing it as much as you were doing it at one time, because for you, I mean, from a multitude of reasons that you kind of sort of alluded to in different parts of your podcast.
Mhm.
But one of the things you said was it started to feel more so like a second job.
Yeah.
And that really resonated. And I think it'll resonate with a lot of people who are in
Mhm.
music, period. But that really resonated with me because I've been at different phases of being not just a creative in terms of being a producer, being a hip hop artist, but also being a podcaster.
Right.
And it was also another, I forget which episode it was, but just saying how if you feel like something is overwhelming for you,
Mhm.
you tend to take a step back from it
Yes.
because you don't want it to necessarily feel like work. And I
Mhm.
think that's
Mhm.
something that a lot of us can relate to. So, taking a step back from the spotlight in that way, in terms of singing the music, do
Mhm.
you feel like that's giving you a greater appreciation for music, not necessarily being somebody who's a participant of it, but more so somebody who's just being more of a lover of the music?
I feel like I'm able to enjoy it more honestly because
Mhm.
I feel like being like I when I started doing music, I enjoyed music. I really didn't know much about the music business necessarily. So I
Mhm.
guess when I like started getting into that part, I was like, I don't really know if I like this, this aspect of it. It's just like I love the music. I don't love like all the other stuff, like the business stuff. And so I was like, I really didn't have much of a team at the time. I'm still doing stuff by myself, trying to figure things out. So I was like, I don't know if I really want to necessarily navigate that route right now until, I can get my stuff in order, my ducks in a row. So it's like I still want to be a part of entertainment, but it's like maybe in another way, because I did feel like it was starting to become like a job and I wasn't really enjoying it as much as I used to. Like I would love, like, and I still do, just write songs, record them, but then having to worry about everything else that goes into that process, and then going to do the shows and all of that other stuff. I don't know. I really don't feel like I'm necessarily doing a show person, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of more like reserved. So it's like once I started going to different states and doing different shows, I like doing shows in different states. I really did. But it's just like if I'm somewhere I've never been, it's like I want to be able to enjoy myself and not necessarily feel like I'm working every time I step outside.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I felt like I just needed a break, and also to like mentally prepare myself, for that, because I didn't expect it to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I kind of enjoyed my solitude a little bit too much. I enjoy being MIA and, popping out when I want to, and not necessarily feeling like I always have to. Because
Yeah.
even like with social media, I don't necessarily post as much as I used to, unless it's like really for the podcast or I'm like promoting something.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, post too much as I used to. I don't know. I feel like social media, I don't know. It's just so different to me than it used to be. So
Yeah.
I don't know, the whole algorithm thing, and
Yeah.
I just like regular original content. So it's just, don't feed me ads and stuff all the time. It's like I'm here to enjoy myself. I don't want to see see an ad for something every time I get online. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's annoying in a lot of ways. And I tell people this all the time. Like if I didn't do music or if I didn't have podcasts, I probably wouldn't be on social media. Like I always tell people, like, if we tight like that, or if we cool like that, you more than likely have my number.
right.
So you know what I'm saying? You can call me, you can text me, you can reach me that way. But if it weren't for being a creative,
Mhm.
I don't know if I would have any accounts, to be real with you, because
Right.
it's a lot, it's very draining to kind of sort of deal with the energy that comes with social media, especially now, because like you said, it's not the same as it once was. Whereas now it's just like it's constant. The energy is just different. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of negativity, a lot of
Mhm.
people who don't know how to intelligently articulate like their opinions a lot of times, or respect the fact that there may be a difference of opinions with certain things,
Yeah.
so it's like
Tap into that a little bit when you said that. Because even like with social media and you see people, what was the man name? Kevin Samuel, or like the lady Cheryl.
mm,
I feel like people listen to them and they get so wound up about the stuff that they're saying, but it's like because they said that that doesn't necessarily pertain to you, because everybody is different. So it's like we do need
mhm,
to bring back the love, not have conversations about like what men are doing wrong and what women are doing wrong and how to try
mhm,
to get over on people, or you not a how valued man, or all of this stuff. I just it's so crazy. And
yeah,
social media has just put such a divide with everybody. We really do need to bring back the love for real. Because we all supposed
absolutely.
to be together, not apart. We weren't put on this earth to be alone. So if the men mad at the women and the women mad at the men, then what we what are we doing?
Right,
We do.
right.
We can't listen to everybody that's, on social media that has a platform that's trying to feed us something. You got to bring back the love. So we do need conversations like the one that you have me on here today. I thank you so much for, allowing me to be a part, because just, positivity and just being, in happy spaces with, wonderful people, just that nostalgic, that music, it plays into that, because you may be like at an event, or somewhere, and they playing, those good songs. And then you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, they were playing that Mary J. Blige song that one time when I went to that event. That was a good time. I enjoyed that. But
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just different
Yeah.
nowadays. So different.
Yeah.
I feel like social media plays into that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Everybody is not an expert, and people need to really just understand that it's like you cannot listen to everybody.
Right.
It's like the State Farm commercial, and it was like, "Where'd you find that information out?" Like on the internet. It's like I just feel like that's where we're at right now, and I don't even think the people who came up with that ad realize just how forward thinking it is and how much of a forecast it would be
Mhm.
for like where we are now, because like you really think about a lot of the divides in these conversations, especially between men and women, and more specifically black men and black women,
Right.
is because they're listening to all of these people who are
Mhm.
feeding their insecurities, who are feeding the things that they want to hold fast and strong to, that they know are toxic, but it protects them. It's a defense mechanism in a lot of ways. So it's like versus trying to break down those walls and chip away at that hard shell that's keeping them from loving somebody, especially themselves. They
Right.
would rather just stay right where they are,
Mhm.
and that's just it. Like they don't want to open themselves up for love. They don't want to open themselves up for the possibility because of hurt, because of disappointment, because of somebody made them feel a certain way about themselves, or like they might have mommy issues or daddy issues, or like
Mhm.
all of these different factors at play that are keeping them from really understanding that we're all in this together and we need each other. Like
Mhm.
we cannot do this. There is no, black women can do without black men, or black men can do without black women. Like it has to be really all or nothing when it comes down to it.
Music fool you and make you think otherwise just because they're talking about it. A lot of
Hmm.
times they may say the stuff in the song and that's not even the life they living. They might
Right.
say, they don't can't stand this person, can't stand that person, but they got a whole family at home. It's just wild. Like, and I feel like people hear that and then they like, yeah, that's right. Such and such ain't no good because such and such said it in the song. So it's like that ties into like their real life now. So we gotta
Hmm.
listen to this stuff that we listening to. Not saying it's all wrong because I mean, shoot, congratulations to them. They got a bag. But
Hmm.
I mean, that's maybe not necessarily what I want to hear all the time. So I mean, it's just everybody's preference is what everybody wants to listen to. It would be nice to have more, mainstream other options. But
Yes.
I mean, it's out there if you really want to find it. But as far as like
Mhm.
streaming on social media and whatnot, you really not gonna see it like that.
No, no, and that's on purpose. Like you really have to hunt for the stuff that is actually speaking life into people. That's why for me, like a lot of the music I listen to is independent, because I just feel like the independents get it because they're the ones that are closer to the ground. Like they're not on these perches, and a lot of times these self-propelled perches where
Mhm.
they're kind of sort of looking down on everybody else and telling everybody else how great their life is, and they have all of this money and they get all of this attention, and
Mhm.
they have all of this fame and popularity and whatnot, but they're not connected to what the people need.
Right.
They think they know what the people need, and a lot of these stations will these stations, and I think you might have mentioned it on one of the episodes, how you went to something where Charlamagne God was talking about
Mhm.
how the reason why they play the music they play is because it's supposedly what the people are streaming, what the people are
Right.
asking for. But I'm
Mhm.
like, but who told them to like that music? Who
Right.
programmed them to like that music? They call it a program director for a reason. Like it's not on accident.
Exactly.
Like they're programming you to listen to a certain type of song
Mhm.
or a certain type of artist, or like you described, an aesthetic, or basically a topic limitation. Like that's
Mhm.
where, and I think that's why it's so important to have this conversation specifically as we talk about like black women
Right.
in music
Mhm.
and how it's so limited now, because it's like you said in that episode where you mentioned, the juxtaposition of the Trinas and the Kayas and then the Missies and the Laurens. Like now it's just one. It's
Yeah,
one and the same. Like I could close my eyes and I can't really. I mean, yeah, the voices might be different, but it's like
y'all say
it's
the same thing.
saying the same thing. Like I mean, it's all and a lot of it is sex, 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 sex. I'm getting over on this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like basically, my coochie is a cash register. You know what I'm saying? Like, like it's just very transactional. That's the word I'm looking for. And
Mhm,
and even a lot of the R&B is very transactional. Like
mhm.
that is the nature of where we're at with relationships. It's not really building together. It's like, what can you give me if I give you this?
Mhm.
And for me, that's the difference. And knowing that that's where we are, what do you how do you pour into yourself? Because I know one of the things that you said was like you didn't want to be a part of that. Like you pulled yourself out of that. And I think that's now that I'm kind of sort of thinking about it, like it ended up being a really perfect segue to like this last question.
Mhm.
Pulling yourself out of that field in order to protect yourself. How do you pour into yourself in order to like affirm who you are and be as sure of who you are as possible? Like when you go out into this world and you inspire people to be the best that they possibly can be, whether it's through your daily interactions, whether it's through your podcast, what do you tell yourself at the beginning and the middle and the end of the day in order to make sure that you are the best version of yourself?
Well, even like when things aren't like going good, or like if I'm having a bad day or rough times, bad week, I really like realize that I have had times that have been way worse, and I've been through way worse things, and I always made it through those things. So if I made it through that, I really can like make it through anything. So it's like I'm really not gonna stress myself or like worry myself. It's like, okay, yeah, I may be feeling this way right now. Allow myself to feel it, but don't dwell on it. Like don't like let it control me for too long. Allow myself to feel it however for long I need to, and just get rid of it, because holding on to that energy, I'm focusing on that instead of focusing on other things. So that's why I do try to do other things and have different hobbies and keep myself creative. So it's like you always have something that you're like working on, some goal that you're working to. So you really not thinking about the things that really may be stressing you at the time. That's why I like to, read my books. I'm really like a visual reader. So it's like if I'm reading it, I feel like I'm, seeing it as I'm going on. So I'm not really thinking about the things that I may have had a bad day, worrying about that day. So I just try to, allow myself to feel it, but don't let myself stress out about it, because you always gonna make it through. You always gonna make it through. Even though it may not feel like it sometimes, you will. You
Yeah.
definitely will for sure. And
Yeah.
I am also someone who loves to pray. So I,
Mhm.
pray as well. And I know every time God has got me out of the situation. So it would be no different. Just, keep it going. I
Yeah.
remember I have one of my yearbooks from back when I was young. And I always used to get, my family members this time, my yearbooks too. And my grandma,
Mm.
she had put in there, keep on keeping on. And I still look at that because she's passed now. So I
Yeah.
still look at it. Sometimes when I'm feeling down, and it's like you got to keep going. You can't give up. You can't give
Yeah.
up. So gotta stay positive and just live your life and just keep striving for better.
Yeah. Yeah. What the moment that you said keep on keeping on, all I could think about was there was this video that I saw where it was a relay race.
Mhm.
And I think it might have been at the Penn relays. And so it was this group from I want to say Bullis. They're I want to say they're a private school. And so they were running their legs and I think the guy in the first leg tripped, fell, lost his baton. So you thinking, okay, they're done. So, but he gets right up, finds his baton in the middle of him stumbling and everything, gets right back up, picks his baton, make sure he hands it off to like the next guy in the leg. By the time they got to the last guy in the leg, when I say this dude like turned on the jets, my goodness, like he was in fourth place at one point of the race. And then
Mhm.
by the end of the race, he walked down the guy that was like far ahead of everybody. And not only did he end up winning, he ended up setting a record at the
What?
pen relays.
Wow, isn't
Yeah,
that something? Dang.
yeah.
A picture of
But
me
that
during that time.
right, right, right. They were, oh my goodness, that time would have been even more vicious. But the fact that like all of that happened and they were still able to set a record, it's
Right.
like it's the whole thing of like never giving up, no matter what you may go through, no matter how you may stumble, no matter what difficulties may come your way, like just that never quit attitude,
Right.
and getting back up because I mean the recovery that he had to do in order to like it looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
Like that fall looked like it, I mean, as fast as he was running and as hard as he tripped, you would have thought he would have been down for a minute. No, he got up as quickly as as he possibly could, found a baton, kept running, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
And I
yeah.
feel like with the music right now, I'm finding my baton.
Yeah.
'Cause
I like that.
I kind of like I really needed a break. So it's like even like with me having COVID a couple of times, it has changed my voice. So I don't
Mm,
necessarily sound the same as I used to, like when I first started singing, when I first
yeah.
started making music. So it's like, okay, that's something that I have to, take into consideration. It's like when I'm singing these songs, my voice is going to sound different. And it's like,
Mm,
I'm okay with that, but I'm going to have to, take some time to get used to it. So it's
yeah.
like I'm allowing myself the time that I need. Cause like, even like when I go somewhere, even like it's kind of weird because like I'd be like very thankful. Like if I go somewhere, especially from I'm not from here. So like if I'm at the mall and somebody's like, hey, you Jalisa Shaunte, you do music. And I'm like, yeah. And it's like, it's been a while for me. So like
Yeah.
if somebody says that to me, that makes me like really appreciative. And I really appreciate that. So it's like when stuff like that happens, it's like maybe I should still, keep doing this music and keep going with it. But I feel like I really needed the time, to step away from it because I didn't want to, especially when I put out the talk my shit, I didn't want to get put in a box of all my songs are going to sound like this from now on, or like
Mhm.
this is going to be how I'm going to dress from now on. I feel like that was just a song for a time period that's how I was feeling. But
Yeah.
I never wanted to feel, like trapped in a box and that type of aesthetic type thing. So it's like,
Mhm.
I take those type of things into consideration. And it's like, I look at it like, what do I want to put in the world? What legacy do I want to leave? So yeah, that might be a part of me, but that's not, all that I am. So it's not like that's the
Right.
thing that I want to put out for the world to see. So it's like I had to, think about that, and it's like, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? Do I want every song after that to, be a little bit, until I get to a certain point where I'm sounding like everybody else? And it's like,
Mhm.
I really didn't, want that for myself. So, I'm taking the time that I need until I, feel like I'm ready to hop back into the game. And hopefully it'll be very soon, very soon.
Yeah.
So thank
Yeah.
you. So, I'm excited. I'm excited.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah. And I mean it gives the people who appreciate what you do the opportunity to see your growth. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to say that, Talk My Shit was like, immature or nothing like that.
Right.
Nothing like that. Cause I played it on my platform. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I still love that song. That song is still on playlist of mine. But it is to say that you are never the same person, or
Mhm.
you shouldn't. If you're a true artist, you're never the same person at one part of your artistic journey as you are at another part of your artistic journey. Like you should be evolving. You should take time to really kind of sort of reset, live life, and let that inform how you make music from there.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I feel like that was, at a time where I wanted to go out and that's how I was feeling. But it's like I'm not really the type of person who likes to go out like that anymore. So it's like I did, I love the experience making the song, all the promotion I did for it, the networking events, the shows. I really did like it. I enjoyed it and I want to get back to it, but I feel like it's just I don't want to do it by myself this time. I definitely gotta have like a team behind me, especially being a female. So I
Mhm.
definitely, need to have a team behind me when I'm in these type of, experiences and, trying to do stuff because I can't do it all by myself.
Right.
And I tried to, and it became too much for me to try to do everything by myself. So the people who want to, help me and assist, I have to allow them. I have to let them do
Mhm.
that for me. Just not try to
Mhm.
do everything by myself. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
next.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for you. You know what I'm saying? And the importance of a team is really what helps you to glow up even more, because then you're not tapping all of your resources out trying to do everything yourself. Like, you are allowed to, I mean, it's good to know those aspects of
Mhm.
being an artist, but you should be able to have the freedom to
Mhm.
focus a little bit more on the artistry than
Right.
allow so much of the business to tap out your energy, So,
I like to be
yeah,
able to delegate those tasks to other people,
right.
not have to do everything, myself. So.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that is how you maintain your
Mhm.
black girl magic. For by keeping all of that energy, as much of your energy as possible, and allowing, the world to really like feed off of that and enjoy it in so many of the different ways that you manifest it and that you show it off, you know what I'm saying? And of course, one of those ways is, with your awesome, like I said, like I teased it up from the beginning, your awesome podcast. We've been referencing it the entire time. This is the time that you get to like just showcase everything you're doing, from, I mean, your podcast to eventually getting back into music. This is your time. Let people know, about your podcast and everything you got going on, and also how they can connect with you.
Yes, yes. So I am Jalisa Shaunte, in case you haven't noticed. But yes, I do have a podcast called Simply Shaunte. It is streaming on all platforms. I did have to, stop for a little bit because I did catch COVID and I had long term COVID. So we are working on season 2 right now. It will be dropping very soon. So I hope you all will tune in. Right now it's Tuesdays, 7:30 on all platforms. Anywhere you listen to your podcast is where you can find Simply Shaunte. I also, have a lot of different things that are coming on in the works. I don't want to say too much, but you can
Mhm.
follow me on all social media platforms. It's at Jalisa_Shaunte. And, keep up with what I have going on. I'm so excited for this year of 2024 and just all these great things that are about to start happening. So yes, be sure to tune in. Simply Shaunte, Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m.
Yes, indeed. And I'm here to tell y'all I'm a huge fan. You know what I'm saying? Again, like the range of topics, having, I always feel like you have to have the right voice and the right disposition for radio slash podcasting. Not everybody's meant to have one, but like from the very first episode, I was like, yeah, this is her lane right here. You know what I'm saying? It'd be cool if she get back into singing, but this her lane right here. She about to thrive in this. This Joan, like the right people hit, about to take off.
I
So
appreciate that.
no doubt.
Like I'm somebody who I like to remind my son, like try a little bit of everything, see what works for you, see what you like. So I wanted to, try podcasting out, see if I liked it, make it work for me. And it's so
Yeah.
crazy because I never really saw myself, having a podcast. But I
Mhm.
thought about it and it's like, why not? I like a lot of different things. Some, when I talk to people and stuff, I have, carry great conversation with folks. So, why not have a podcast,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so I definitely
Absolutely.
enjoy it. I definitely
Yeah. I can tell. I can tell. Like, it's something that it comes naturally to you. And what I also enjoy about the conversations, or, like the topics that you cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. Like, you don't have to talk about anything really longer. Like, none of the episodes I think are over, like at least the ones where it's just you. I don't think any of them are over 20 minutes, you
no.
know. And that's, I mean, that's key in this age of, people having short attention spans, to be
Yeah.
able to like cover that much ground and make a topic interesting for in under 20 minutes.
And my attention span is kind of short. So that's when I do it like that. Like, I gotta do like I want to talk about everything, but I know that after a certain amount of time, it's like, all right, I don't care more. So it's like I try to put that into my podcast because
Yeah,
that's just how I am. So I'm gonna talk about a little bit of everything. We're gonna get this show on the road so we can catch all these topics. So
yeah, yeah. That's a
mhm,
great strategy.
so much. I enjoy it so much.
Yeah. Well, I definitely enjoy it. And I have enjoyed this conversation with you tonight. I'm so grateful for you coming on and agreeing to come on and just really just telling your story even more. Like I tell y'all, if y'all want to know even more about her, go watch or listen to the podcast. But like, this is a great introduction to who I feel like is an awesome person who is perfect for this conversation tonight about no business like glow business, black girl magic, all of that stuff. I appreciate you for coming on the podcast tonight, my sister.
Thank you so much. Happy to be a part. Would love to have you
Absolutely.
on Simply Shaunte.
Hey, you know I'm game whenever. Just let me know.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. I'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, all right. Take care.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
All right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jalisa Shaunte. Please, again, make sure that y'all check out her podcast, Simply Shaunte. It is an excellent podcast. Like, I thoroughly enjoy it. Like, I'm not the type, like, I listen to quite a few podcasts, you know what I'm saying? And it's very few that like really capture my attention for longer than maybe the first couple of episodes I listen to. But like, this is one I'm definitely locked into. So I appreciate her for coming on tonight and really just telling her own story about music and also just her own story when it comes to like the glow of black women. Cause like I said at one point, there's to me, because I was raised by a black woman, I got a bias. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like there's nothing like black women out here. And that's why I refer to them as the queens of Sheen, because they just shine in a different way. Speaking of Queen of Sheen, y'all know every song, or I mean, every episode on this series is inspired by a song that is coming from my instrumental album that is out right now called Love on Rewind. This particular song that inspired tonight's episode is called Queen of Sheen. Um, you can get it on Love on Rewind, my album featuring the singles Something New, Fluent in My Language, Resilient, Rewind, now available for purchase and streaming on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Tidal. You can also buy it on Bandcamp, ajthrowback.bandcamp.com, and also my website, bammllc.net/shop. /music. Getting ahead of myself, about to promote the merch, which you see on right now. I got the Make R&B Music Great Again hat, part of my Love on Rewind collection, and also my Vampire State muscle shirts for, the warm weather when you want to work out, when you want to go for one or whatever, and you don't want all those sleeves. Sometimes the sleeves can make you even hotter. Sometimes you need to, show the gun show real quick for people. But yes, you can get this on my website, which is bammllc.net/shop batch. Once again, that's bammllc.net/shop batch. You can follow the brand on Facebook and Instagram at batch.202 and also on X at batch_202. If you're not already following me on social media, I am at AJ Throwback on Facebook and X. On Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, I am at a.j.throwback. And right here on YouTube, I am at AJ Throwback 928. And I appreciate everybody who has already subscribed to my channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Hit that bell notification so whenever I go live, post a new video, premiere a new video, you'll be among the first to know. Also, like, comment, share this video. If you really enjoyed this conversation tonight, spread the love. That's what it's all about. You got to bring back the love. And one way to bring back the love is to actually share with you the conversations that you are part of or the conversations that you've seen, so all of the views help. And just really all of the conversations help to just really restore what we're missing so much of in culture right now, what we're missing so much of in social media, what we're missing so much of in music. In certain areas, I see it, but for me, this whole project is really just about, as the title suggests, bringing back the love. So I appreciate everybody who has tuned in to tonight's episode. Of course, we will be back next Friday night for another episode of Bring Back the Love Conversations, or as I like to refer to it, Bring Back TLC, because it's not just about bringing back the love conversations. It's about bringing back tender love and care. So I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night, your Friday night, and enjoy your weekend. And I will see y'all next week for another episode of Bring Back the Love Conversations. I've been your host, AJ Throwback, and I will see y'all then. Peace.